Imagine earning $2,000 only to watch a massive chunk of your hard-earned money instantly vanish to invisible forces. That missing money pays for civilization, funding everything from local roads to billion-dollar missiles. Inflation acts as a second, quieter thief. Your $5 bill looks the same, but it buys 30% less food than it did last year. Holding on to raw cash is a losing strategy. The system is mathematically designed to slowly drain your purchasing power. At its core, the economy operates on a surprising truth. Currency isn't real. A dollar bill has no more intrinsic legitimacy than a random stick. Money only has power because society collectively agrees to believe in the illusion of its value. Because money is a social construct, the economy functions as a human-made game operating on strict, invisible rules. Ignorance of these rules allows the system to extract your wealth, while learning the mechanics lets you rig the game back in your favor. Banks operate as financial matchmakers rather than secure, dragon-guarded vaults. They take your cash and immediately give it away. Under fractional reserve banking, a bank keeps only a tiny sliver of your deposit on hand and lends the rest to a borrower. The bank earns its profit by charging the borrower a higher rate than they pay you for holding the deposit. Interest represents the mandatory rent charged for money to exist in someone else's hands. This system turns banks into aggressive engines, forcing money to constantly circulate and multiply for yield. Because the matrix runs on lending imaginary money, institutions use a credit score to measure your trustworthiness as a borrower. This specific algorithm completely ignores total wealth, focusing instead on your history of paying debts on time and managing credit. When borrowing is cheap, a surge in spending naturally drives prices up, triggering widespread inflation. The central government fights this by aggressively raising interest rates, making borrowing painful enough to force consumer spending to stop. This specific flowchart tracks the path to a recession, where jobs vanish and companies aggressively cut costs to reset the system. The economy functions as a constantly breathing cycle of booms and busts, entirely dictated by the cost of borrowing money. The system's inherent inflation means leaving your money idle guarantees a loss in purchasing power. Investing provides the solution, trading your cash for ownership in growing assets instead of trading your hours for a paycheck. Compound interest serves as the ultimate wealth multiplier, where every invested dollar creates clones that eventually create their own clones. Successful investing operates as a mandatory, slow-burning engine required to outpace the continuous erosion of your life savings. Just like the paper dollar, goods and services command high prices because of how society perceives their value. The highest earners build wealth by creating products and systems that deliver massive perceived value to millions of people. Perception also drives luxury pricing, where the brand's social status matters far more than the raw materials used. Average workers are trapped directly trading their absolute most strictly limited resource, their fleeting time, for a linear paycheck. True wealth comes from taking that created value, investing it consistently, and giving it decades to compound. Mastering the matrix requires accepting these artificial rules, providing value, and letting time do the heavy lifting.